So, good morning, everyone. I think it's time to open this webinar. Thank you all for joining us this morning. It's really good to see so many possible new applicants for our traineeship here. The aim today is to really give you a good picture of what our traineeship entails, what you will learn step by step, what the career opportunities are, and also to hear more about experiences from Motoppers who have successfully completed this traineeship and are now working at one of our partners. I'm happy to see so many reactions in the chats already. If you have any questions during this webinar, feel free to ask them. I hope we will address them all during, what our speakers will share with you. But if there's any questions in the meantime, feel free to ask them in the chat. We will make sure they will all be answered and addressed during this webinar. So don't hold back. And then I want to, welcome everyone one last time. Before I'm going to introduce our speakers. But first, I'll introduce myself. My name is Anna. I'm the Partnership and Recruitment Manager at Motopp, and I'm responsible for recruiting new trainees, building and maintaining relationships with municipalities all over the Netherlands, and many things more, such as hosting this webinar together with my colleague Dylan. Today I have many other speakers who are going to share their story about Motopp with you all. And I hope, after this webinar, you're all excited to apply. We have answered all your questions and that we see you in the interviews. The agenda of today is as follows. We will start with the founding story by Jan Prinsen, the founder of Motopp. Hi, Jan. And then we will continue with the planning of the traineeship and the recruitment, the requirements and the selection process by Wanda Kompier, our lead people development. Then Stuart van Otterlo, our course director, will share more about the content of the IT training and what the career opportunities are, especially what IT roles will be possible for you after completing this training. Then Armin, one of our successful trainees, will share his experience and will share more about how he has experienced the traineeship and his journey to work at Friesland Campina. And then we will quickly give you a bit more insight in what partners we work with. And then it's time for some final questions before we close the webinar. Like I said, in the meantime, if you have any questions, shout them in the chat and we will make sure they will be answered. And for now, I want to give the word to Jan Prinsen. Welcome.
Good morning, Anna, and welcome everyone. I'm really excited. I see you guys are very enthusiastic and active in the chat. And before we start, I want to thank Anna and Dylan for organizing this webinar, which seems to appeal to a lot of people. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're happy. Me too. Jan, well, you're the founder of Motopp. Could you describe Motopp in just a few sentences? What is its core mission?
Our core mission, we connect the right motivation with the right opportunity. And we do that by helping newcomers in the Netherlands with a refugee background finding good careers, successful careers in IT.
Okay. And you've been doing that for quite some time now. I think it has been almost 5 years since Motopp has been founded.
Correct. I started with this group a little bit earlier, but we're working on this almost 5 years now. It's very great to do this.
Okay, and what was the moment that you realized Motopp had real potential to make an impact?
Well, when I started with Motopp, I was responsible for a Java development company, and actually I was exploring options to expand in Eastern Europe. And at that moment, I met an old high school friend, and he told me, Jan, you are crazy that you try to find afar what is already available here. And he started to work for the municipality of Amsterdam, working with a group status holders. And he was helping them find jobs in the Netherlands. And he said, why don't you meet these people? So I wasn't really aware of these people or this group. So I said, okay, I'm a curious person. So I met a few of these newcomers, and I was very impressed with the qualities of people and also the desire to contribute to Dutch society. And I started working with them, giving them a little bit training in IT, testing. And I started calling people from my network. And quite quickly, we found positions for them at quite large and good partner organizations. And that's when I kind of got it. There are a few trends. There's a shortage of talent. There's the aging of the population. We're digitizing as a society. So quite early in the beginning, I found we have this group of talented people that are willing to work and very capable to work. Let's help them land well in the Netherlands.
Okay. And well, that were already some success stories from the beginning. How did those success stories shape how Motopp is designed today?
Well, I think from the early beginning and also my career before that, working with different cultures, making people from Asia work successfully in the US and Europe, we work in IT, but a large part of the success factors are cultural and personal. And I'm sure Wanda and Siewert will also talk a bit about those parts. So in our training program, we give you a very solid IT training, but we also focus a lot on personal development in a Dutch context.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's something Wanda will address as well. Thank you for sharing the founding story. We will get back to you later, Jan. And maybe Wanda, now that we're talking about the Dutch working culture, you can elaborate on this more. Welcome to this webinar, first of all. Wanda,
Thank you,
could you share something about what is your position at Motopp and what is our traineeship designed and what is necessary to know for new applicants?
Yes, if you can continue to the next slide. Hello, everybody. My name is Wanda Kompier. I'm responsible for people development. So together with my team, we guide our trainees during the whole traineeship. And every month for next year, every month we start a traineeship, and that program runs for about 6 months, and that's only the learning phase of it. So it includes a learning phase of 6 months, but after that we also have 18 months where you get exposed to work experience in the IT department of Dutch enterprises. So Motopp success becomes a bit of a mixture between technical skills and soft skills, also personal development. It's not only important that you are going to experience and advance in your technical skills, but it's also good about understanding about clear communication, your ideas, and backing them up with strong arguments. Share your opinion. This is quite interesting for our Dutch culture. Teamwork, cultural understanding. And in every aspect, whether it's in personal development or technical growth, planning and communication plays a crucial part in this. As you can imagine, for example, good planning allows our trainees to set clear goals and stay organized, while strong communication helps in building trust and working effectively. I think together these skills can create a foundation for you all for both on personal growth and technical problem solving. We offer a complete training in IT basics, such as project management, both front-end and back-end development. But besides the technical skills, It is important to understand more about business processes, how IT fits with company goals. So it includes a learning phase and also getting the experience in the IT world.
Okay. All right. And then what makes a good trainee for all these potential applicants in this webinar? What requirements do they need to fulfill to be a good match for this program?
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Good question. So first of all, our selection process at Motopp is designed to find motivated candidates who not only meet certain technical requirements, but also have a strong commitment to building a career in IT. We start with some hard requirements that candidate must meet. Think about, of course, our Motopp vision, refugee background. It's important that you have a verblijfsstatus. You need to have a B2 level of English to ensure clear communication in both the training and workplace. We also require a bachelor level of education to ensure you have the foundational academic skills needed for the program. And next to that, it's very important that you have full-time availability during, the coming 6 months. Our office hours start from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and it's essential that you are available. We expect trainees to be fully committed to their development within Motopp. So, you're pursuing this opportunity, it's important that you have the time and that you are available to gain the most experience from this opportunity. Last, we look also for experience or a strong interest and affinity in IT, which I think is crucial to engage with this program. However, though, Motopp, we don't only look at these requirements, but we also focusing on understanding more about your motivation. We want to know why are you interested in this traineeship and working in IT. Therefore, we have a selection procedure in place. We have a first interview, an assessment, and a second interview. When it comes to our first interview, we conduct an interview to learn more about your educational work background. And this is where we get a sense of your experience and what drives you. Then we have a technical assessment. This is an online test where we actually look and try to figure out where you stand when it comes to problem-solving abilities, mathematical skills, data handling skills. And as I mentioned, this helps us to understand your current strengths and identify areas where we can help you develop further. Then secondly, and also the final interview, we have a more in-depth interview, a more in-depth conversation. And we focus on your personality, your strengths, your potential for growth. We discuss also your availability for the coming 6 months, so we can confirm if you are fully committed to the program and if you have no other responsibilities such as caregiving duties or your Dutch course perhaps. So we going to assess that. And this process allows us to carefully select candidates who not only have the right qualification, but also very motivated and committed to start at our traineeship.
Okay. Well, a very clear explanation. In the meantime, we also got a question in the chat. I think that's maybe good to address for all of us. Is experience in IT a requirement for this traineeship?
No, experience is not a requirement, but I do want to understand in the meantime that you're here, have you been doing courses? Have you reading articles? Have you, you can demonstrate and showcase your interests, for what you have been doing. I think it's also quite important that you actually can showcase that you have working experience, and that you have some leadership skills, some other qualities. So this is something we can discuss in our first and second interview.
Okay. And if you're in the traineeship, what does it? How does your week look like? What are the coming 6 months? Can you tell a bit more about this?
Yes, of course. So we have different phases in our traineeship. So first, as you can see on the left side on this slide, we have a basic training of 2 weeks. And this is actually it's a week about presenting yourself, getting your CV up and running, and understanding who you were, where you are now, and where you want to go. And we help you with that story and to sharpen your narrative there. Then you start with 12 weeks boot camp. It also consists of different parts. It's about understanding how a Dutch enterprise in IT works. It's about knowledge, it's understanding IT organizations, roles and processes. It's more about learning about success factors and quality metrics for each role, and understanding more the basic of IT lexicon. Secondly, it's about skills that can be used in specific roles, putting your skills and knowledge into practice. And of course, also we have you will be exposed and you start to build, backend applications with Python. And to put all this in practice, we have an internship phase in our traineeship.
Okay. Okay. And this is then the program for 6 months. Maybe it's good to also give a bit of insight into 1 week in the IT training.
Yes, let me see. I don't know where we are with the slides, but I think I'm not able to see the slides.
Oh, I will.
Yes, sorry. So a normal week, as you can see, it's from Monday until Friday, and always on Monday you start together with your fellow trainees with a lecture. It's a hybrid version, so you will be at the office in our headquarters in Amsterdam, but you also have the possibility to work and learn from home. It's a mixture of lectures, Udemy courses, and working with your group together. Of course, you have multiple check-ins with our trainers and with your people development manager who guide you through all this process. And of course, it's done in groups. As working in Agile, we work together with your trainees.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And well, once you've successfully finished the traineeship, the aim is, of course, that you start working at one of our partners. Then there will also be guidance on the job. Could you get a bit more in depth into that?
Yes, of course. So during the traineeship, we assign each trainee to a dedicated people development manager at the start of the program. And this manager provides personal guidance, assists with developing soft skills, your personal development, but also help you with practical matters. And when you work as a Motopp, you will also report to your people development manager. He will be your manager as well when you get more experience in a Dutch enterprise. And once a trainee starts, we keep, of course, supporting you and stay closely involved to offer, support where needed. We have bi-weekly coaching sessions with you via online. And every month, we also have a check-in with your manager to discuss the progress. We have an evaluation on a quarterly basis. And we offer on the Fridays also additional workshops.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Wanda. I've got 2 questions from the audience I would like to ask you. First of all, one that just came in, the traineeship will be in Dutch or English. Well, I can also answer that the traineeship will be in English. Roma, you might have seen an advertisement for another traineeship that will start in January, that will be hosted in Leeuwarden, which will be in Dutch. But this traineeship that we're also hosting this webinar about takes place in Amsterdam, and therefore English is a requirement. It's always a plus if you speak Dutch. But it's important that your English is at B2 level, so you can really participate in the program, follow all the lectures, communicate with your fellow trainees in English. So that is an important requirement. And Wanda, there was also one question about the assessment. Could you give us a bit of information what the assessment entails?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the assessment is an online test. It takes approximately like 60 minutes. You will be questioned about basic math. Also, are you able to work with data? Are you able to work with numbers, analytical skills? It's an online test, and there are some tests available to practice in advance. And it's good that you are in an environment where you can focus and that you have some quiet around you. And those test results gives us an idea where you stand when it comes to the potential where you can grow. And this is not the only part we are assessing you. It's a combination of the first and second interview, but it gives you an idea where you stand when it comes to potential in IQ.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I think it's time to move on to our next speaker, Seward. Seward, welcome to our webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. Great to see
Good
everybody.
morning. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good.
It's good to have you on this webinar. Seward is our course director, and well, I think today he will share a bit more about our IT training program. Could you maybe introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I was born in the Netherlands. I lived in the UK for a short while, but I found it challenging to work in a different culture. So I returned to the Netherlands after I obtained my PhD. I've been working in IT for more than 10 years in many roles, meeting many Dutch and international companies. I really like working in IT. People are very flexible, open-minded, and you can work in English with people from many cultures. And I think like 6 or 7 years ago, I started teaching here at the university, both at the Vrije Universiteit Amsterdam and at the Utrecht University of Applied Sciences. So I know the normal IT curriculum well, and I try to compress the normal 3-year program into 12 weeks, especially for Motopp.
All right. Well, that sounds a bit scary to me if IT was new for me, but well, you have the expertise in it. Could you share a bit more about how you do this?
Yeah. So what we do is we both focus on basic knowledge. This is just to make you feel comfortable and being able to communicate effectively with your new project team members. But we also try to teach you the skills and processes in IT, so that you have a very good start and you learn how this works. And we focus on communication skills. What we learned is that if you start in a company, you will probably start in a junior role anyway. And what they want from you is that you communicate clearly, you understand the instructions, you do your best, and then within a few days, you just show what you could or could not do. And people in IT are flexible. They understand if things are not possible, and you can tell them, but you have to speak up and tell them. And we do that with a 12-week program where every week, like Wanda explained, has its own topic. It starts with instructions and it ends with you presenting your results. And by the way, when you've completed the program, you have learned a lot about IT, but you also learned a lot of personal and communication skills that you will need in an IT job. And ideally, you also learn what you enjoy most and which roles would be suitable. I think there was a question in the chat indeed about assessment. We don't do a assessment at the end, but that's also not companies do. But we will try to assess you every week, but on a different aspect. And by the end of the 12-week programs, you know what you're good at, we know what you're good at, and we can find a good opportunity for you.
Okay. And I think that assessing of trainees is also part of the blended learning that we use in the program. Could you share a bit more about this?
Yeah. So being successful in IT is always a combination of knowing the basics, but also having applied it, and that's often what you do on your own, but also being able to effectively work with others. And we try to simulate this in a working week. So we start on Monday with a plenary meeting with a main lecturer. Could be me, could be somebody else, depending on the week. You get instructions, and then you have to follow a few Udemy courses, because the basics are very well explained on Udemy. But you also get a group assignment, exactly like this. So you have to apply the knowledge together with your colleagues. We have multiple small groups. There will be Q&As where you practice asking questions to experts and you can learn it from a practical perspective. And then on Friday, you typically present or submit something that you made with your group. And if you're presenting, you also see what the other groups made of it. And you can see that you can get different results even with the same assignment. And that's how they also work in companies. So by the end of the 12 weeks, you know how to work in a team effectively in the IT domain.
All right, all right. And in what different IT roles can trainees expect to work after completing the program?
Many, I would say. IT, every company works in a slightly different way. And that's why we teach you to be flexible, ask questions and report so you can quickly learn in your new environment. In most IT programs, the developer role is the first role. And you can start in a developer role. We've picked one programming language, Python, because it's often used. But once you can develop in Python, you can easily also learn other technologies, and we can offer you additional training. I think only about a third of people in IT work as a developer. You can also become a tester or an analyst, but then you make inputs or you get the output from developers and you have to work effectively together with them. So you have to understand the development process. You can also work on a more user-focused role, and then you're, for instance, an application administrator or a business analyst, and you answer user calls. You help the user state the problem correctly, and you pass it on to developers, and you work with developers to find a solution. And so in our training program, the basics, it starts with the developer role, but you also learn about the other roles. And hopefully all have a very long career in which you can try out different roles. That's what I did, at least.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Stuart. I'm going to check in the chat if there were some questions. I don't see one coming up. So I think we can move on to one of our trainees that is working in an IT role. Armin, welcome to this webinar. I'm waiting for him to... I'm not sure if his laptop is working. Armin, are you in the meeting? Oh, my camera is off. I think we have some technical issues. But Armin is one of our trainees. Armin, you have a different link to enter the meeting. I think you maybe entered with the normal link. Maybe you can try to figure that out, and then we will first get back to Jan before we will share your story. Because Jan, you also, well, after Seward spoke about the content of the training, you also are in very close contact with partners during your work at Motopp. So I think you're the best person to also share a bit more about the career opportunities that are ahead for our trainees for now, but also on the long term. Could you share a bit more about this?
Correct. I speak with our partners on a daily basis, and I think what the words that are here are very important. We help you guys succeed in a Dutch enterprise IT environment. We spoke a bit about the IT, but I think the other two words, Dutch and enterprise, are just as important. Dutch means that you can succeed in a specific Dutch context, acting like the people would expect you to act and understanding what is expected. And enterprise also is slightly different. And I sometimes give the example here of, I lived a lot in Asia, and in Japan, they build houses for a 30-year period. In our office is almost 400 years old. If you approach building a house for 30 years, you might look at different materials, you might spend less time at planning. Related to the context, we will help you understand what is required and necessary in a Dutch enterprise IT environment. And I do that by, like it says here, these are some of the topics that we work on, but there's much more. Working in an agile way, understanding Dutch work culture, and also present yourselves. As to the roles, I think that's the next slide, right? That you can continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at long term, I see like IT is the key, and Motopp is like helping you open the door. You have to do the work. Stewart, Wanda, myself are not going to write any line of code for you guys. So I think long-term career opportunities are plentiful. Stewart will mention you can focus on a more technical development role or more a business role, focusing on the users or communication. We typically see people start as a developer or an analyst or a tester on support and slowly grow, where the more technical people can grow into architect roles or more management roles, if you like, are more into people or the organizations. Plenty is possible, and I see IT not going away. I only see it growing. So long-term career opportunities are there.
All right, all right. And what kind of partners?
Yeah, we work closely and do well with these larger Dutch organizations, hence the word enterprise, also what I mentioned earlier. So it's typically the largest organizations in the Netherlands. We do a lot in the fields of energy, a lot in finance, but almost all segments of the Dutch enterprise organizations we work with.
All right, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Armin, I'm not sure if you are able to turn on your camera already. If not yet, then I'm first going to answer some questions from the chat, because I've seen many excited participants who are eager to ask some questions. So one of the questions is, after the completion of this traineeship program, is there a certificate for the participants? And how do you introduce the participant to the IT companies? Maybe Jan, I think that's a good question that you could answer for us.
Yeah, that's a good question, also quite a difficult question. Basically, we approach this from two sides, like what are the needs from the partner company based on the individual skill set, and also how much matches this individual there. And it's a combination of technical expertise, general knowledge, and personality based on which we make the matches. And in some cases, I remember we worked with a Dutch organization that's responsible for education. And then there were two teachers. So their previous work-life experience combined with the IT training helped them land a job there. So it's quite a complicated assessment, which is on an individual basis. We make the matches.
Okay, okay. And are we partners with any universities?
Let me also answer that one. I saw Siewert answered. So yes, he's the connection, but I guess if you interpret it on working with universities, yes, we also work with universities. University of Amsterdam, for instance. And this Friday, we have an internal guest speaker from the University of Rotterdam, which we not yet work with, but I hope in the future we will with.
Okay, okay. And one question to Stuart. What type of project or task can trainees expect to work on during the program?
Well, in the first week, you will have to make a project management plan because whatever role you will take, you have to read project management plans. So you have to know how to work. You also make a business case. In the second week, you learn about making designs, because often you make designs before you approve them. You do a ITIL assessment, which is a small test to check whether you know IT services and how important it is. And we also have like a security assessment, because many of our partners think that all their IT professionals must know about information security. So we do a test where you have to make a security plan for a typical application for them.
Okay, okay. And do you think this program is beneficial for those with some prior experience in IT?
Yes, very much. I always enjoy it if people are in the room with some prior experience. You're still learning because we've got some new cases to you that will help you understand IT in a Dutch business context. And also because you really get back into the rhythm. You get to know the IT process and organizations, how they're organized here. And you also get some practice in presenting, which is always good. Even at my level, I still learn from my participation in the program.
Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. And I think a share who asked these questions, we have a lot of people with prior experience in IT. We also have people with not so much experience in IT yet, but this program is really designed for both of these kind of participants. So with experience and without, this program is really designed to train you at your level and make sure you develop yourself further into a role that you will work in. And for people with experience in IT, that might be different roles than for people who are new to the IT field. But for both, it's a really fitting program. We have a lot of questions. They will be answered in the chat in the meantime. But now I really want to give the floor to Armin.
Hi to everyone, and sorry about the problem. Actually, it was because of the patch management of Friesland company. I was not aware of it, so sorry again. And hi to everyone.
Don't worry about it. It's really good to have you here. Good morning.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's always, well, now working at a new company, having a new Teams account, but we're really happy to see you here. Thank you for joining us this morning. Armin, could you introduce yourself? Tell me a bit more about when you started with Motopp and what you're doing now.
Sure. Thanks again from you, and hi to everyone, especially my future co-workers at Motopp, among of the attendees. My name is Armin. I'm 38 years old. I have born and raised in Tehran, capital of Iran. 4 years ago, me and my wife moved to the Netherlands, and since then we are living in Arnhem.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how did you get in touch with Motopp?
Yeah, well, as soon, even before moving to the Netherlands, I was thinking to, change my career field from telecom to IT. And when I moved to the Netherlands, I knew that, the infrastructure, everything is ready than my country. So I was thinking to change the field, but I didn't know how. And I know that definitely I need a kind of mentorship. It needs pass and change. I was talking with one of my friends about my concern to changing the field. So he recommended me that there are some companies like Motopp who can guide you exactly in the direction that you want. So I started searching. I found the Motopp. I attended in one of the webinars, and of course I decided to apply for this career.
All right. And then you finished the training now. Could you share a bit more about how that
Sure.
was for you?
Yeah, actually, I started my course at Motopp 12 months ago, last November. So it's about 7 months that I'm working in Friesland company now as a ServiceNow developer, same as the other that happens for them. I participated in Motopp courses for 6 months, and immediately after finishing the course, I got a job at Friesland company.
All right. And what kind of role are you working in now?
Yeah, right now I am working as a ServiceNow developer in Friesland Campina. This is a new project, new team. It's called OT Capability Team. We are working for changing and somehow implementing the cybersecurity rules based on the European Council framework. It's called NIS2 on the different factories of Friesland Campina.
All right. Sounds very impressive to me. And could you share a bit more about what a typical day at the office looks like for you?
Yeah, sure. Actually, none of days are not like to each other because every day there is a new challenge for us. At the beginning, there were lots of, going to factories and for gathering the information and the data that we needed. By thanks of Motopp, they provided a car. So we went to the factories on whole around the Netherlands. Now our job now is more focused on the office in the Wageningen, Why working type is hybrid? For one day, we are attending in office. Whole the team will be there at Wednesdays, and of course, if we need more, meeting and be together, we can be there. But mostly, we are working from home.
Okay, okay. And what is the most valuable thing you have learned so far?
Actually, I can categorize my learnings into category. First, I can say it was my soft skills, especially regarding how to presenting myself. By thanks of Wanda, how to be a good storyteller, shape your story in a better way, and make your story in a Dutch way. Of course, adaptability with Dutch working culture. For instance, there is no hierarchy in Dutch environment, and we should get adapted with this one. And the second one, the technical skills like back-end and front-end understanding, low-code concept, which came from the first IT training camp by Motopp. And then when we got the job, again, there was some intensive courses prepared by Motopp specifically about what we were going to do with ServiceNow.
Yeah, all right, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Armin.
Thank you
Does
for
anyone
inviting.
from the participants have a question for Armin? I haven't seen one yet. I think it's also nice to address you're also working there with another Motopper, right?
Yes, Amir is there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's also a possibility that after the training program, you can be working with one of your fellow trainees, and maybe one of you in the webinar might join Armin at Friesland one day.
Hopefully.
That would be great. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Armin. It was really good to hear about your experience. Well, I hear some participants saying good luck for you. I totally stand behind that. A lot of good luck at Friesland. You're doing very well there, and we're very happy to see you being so successful.
Thanks.
I think it's time for the final question before we wrap up this webinar. A lot of answers have been asked in the chat. I think a few questions that I've seen multiple times is about, first of all, the days at the office. So during our program, like Wanda said, full-time availability is really important. So 5 days a week from 9 till 5:30. On a regular basis, people come to the office for 2 days a week. But it could be that some weeks you're expected there for 3 days, maybe even 4 days, while other weeks you only have to come 1 day a week to the office. We really prepare you to start working at one of our partners. Armin just mentioned, I'm going to the office at Friesland maybe 1 day a week right now, but we also have trainees working at companies where they're expected maybe 4 days a week at the office. So it's really important that you are committed and willing to work at the office. We also see that it's really important to be in touch with our trainees during the program, but also when you start working somewhere, it's really important to be at the office, to have chats with your colleagues, to be able to ask questions very easily. On a regular basis, it's 2 days, but it could sometimes be more, and the days also differ a bit every week. So I think that's important to know when you consider applying. Finally, also a question about prior knowledge of programming languages. It is not a requirement, but it's always a plus, of course. It makes things easier. We have people who start with Python from the beginning. Well, then it can be a bit impressive and new to you and a bit challenging sometimes. But therefore, we also look in the interviews. Do you really have a strong affinity with IT? We have a technical assessment to see if you have the skills, what it takes. And we really need to see, okay, maybe you don't have the experience yet in the IT field, but what experience do you have, and are they applicable for a role in IT? Is that maybe your working experience? Have you worked a lot with data? Have you been a math teacher? Have you studied something in computer science, or maybe something completely different? But can you show us what you have done in IT so far or what you are willing to learn. That's most important. Finally, I think most questions have been answered. I want to wrap up with one final question from Shreya. Please advise the deadline for the next traineeship. Well, it's a good question to wrap up this webinar. Our next traineeship starts on the 6th of January. Please apply as soon as possible because full is full. So we do get a lot of applicants and we want to give everyone a chance for having a first interview. But we also have limited spots, of course. So apply, I would say, today or tomorrow. Next week we will close the applications. Yeah, make sure to also prepare your application a bit. Think about your motivation. And once you've applied, we will invite you, if you fulfill all the requirements, for an interview. It's also good to know that this year or next year, 2025, we have a traineeship starting every month. So is January maybe not the right option for you? You're not full-time available yet. You still have to arrange some things. Then you can also apply for the February traineeship or the March one, the one starting in March. So there are plenty of possibilities. For now, I want to thank all the speakers. Armin, thank you so much for making time while working at Friesland Campina. Jan, Wanda, Siwer, thank you so much for sharing your stories. Dylan, thank you for the organization. And to you all, thank you so much for your active participation in the chat. We really appreciate it. We will send you all an email with more information about the program and also a link to apply to our traineeship. It will also have my contact details. So if you have any questions that haven't been answered yet, feel free to send me an email, give me a call. I will make sure to answer every single one of your questions. This is not the end for now. It is for the webinar, but you can reach me for anything you need to know. So thank you once again, and we hope to see your application soon.
Thank you. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Great to meet you.
Thank you.